The backlash against Guillermo del Toro's The Shape of Water to become a tsunami of disapproval when the movie won the Oscar for Best Picture. How farcical, how tragic, that a film about a woman falling in love with an amphibian should claim the industry's starriest accolade, went the grumbles. As the Shape haters lined up to hurl their rotten fish heads, it seemed to escape them that Del Toro was employing a fantastical premise as a prism through which to interrogate the human condition. We are all, the movie argued, lonely fishmen hanging in the deep, desperate for a connection. That fantasy or science fiction can serve as a mirror through which we catch refractions of the real world may still be a novelty in cinema 50 years after 2001, A Space Odyssey it surely should nt. In literature, the allegorical possibilities of genre writing are, by contrast, long established. And while there are no love-struck amphibians in Tom Sweeterlich's The Gone World headline, this ambitious hybrid of detective novel, space opera and end-of-the-world rumination similarly taps a universal anxiety, in this case, fear of mortality and the unknown that waits on the other side. It's 1997 and a family has been horrifically murdered in small-town America. The father, a Navy SEAL, has vanished, along with his daughter, the only other survivor. Naturally HES chief suspect. The investigation into the killings is led by Shannon Most, part of a clandestine division within the Naval Criminal Investigative Service (NCIS). As she delves into the suspect's past, Hunter and Hunted are revealed to share a devastating secret. The monster in her living room is, in fact, a postmodern second coming of Victor Frankenstein's creation. Sweeterlich, who has co-written several short films with director Neil Blomkamp, demonstrates considerable dexterity in interweaving the procedural and metaphysical components of the story. Splicing apocalyptic drama and Agent Dale Cooper-style sleuthing should nt work. He carries it off with something approaching a flourish. The interaction between the banal and the unreal likewise informs Frankenstein in Baghdad One World by Iraqi poet, novelist and screenwriter Ahmed Sadawi. The book, winner of the 2014 International Prize for Arabic Fiction, is a meditation on how the psychodrama of war can leach through the walls and up through the floorboards. It is set in 2005, the darkest days of America's post-Saddam occupation of Baghdad, and the elderly widow Elishva, quietly unhinged by the death of her son, Daniel, decades previously, has welcomed into her home a shambling creature which she takes to be her boy, risen in return to her. The monster in her living room is, in fact, a postmodern second coming of Victor Frankenstein's creation, a tragic parody forced to live a life for which it never asked. The difference is that this creature was conjured not through scientific recklessness but in response to the great psychic howl emitted by a city required to suppress the reality of war and occupation in order to retain its sanity. 1 part magic realist fairy tale, 2 parts hallucinatory horror, Frankenstein in Baghdad is an unmooring portrait of a society driven to waking dreams by ceaseless violence. In Bollander's retelling, the company's owners hire sentient elephants in place of women. Also with a foot in the real world is Brooke Bollander's The Only Harmless Great Thing tour, an alternate history connecting the dots between industrial in turn-of-the-century New Jersey and the electrocution, at the behest of Thomas Edison, of Topsy the elephant at a Coney Island zoo in 1903. The tale is narrated by Regan, one of the New Jersey Radium Girls, whose tragic story is ripped from the historical records. The Radium Girls were female factory workers who developed radiation poisoning painting watch dials with radioactive luminous paint in Newark, New Jersey. The right of individual workers to seek damages from companies was established under U.S. law in the ensuing court case. In Bollander's retelling, the company's owners hire sentient elephants in place of women and task Regan, the last surviving human on the factory floor, with their training. Topsy is her final student and their relationship takes a turn for the worse. Bollander, whose Our Talons Can Crush Galaxies was nominated for the 2017 Hugo Award for Best Short Story, writes intriguely prose which makes for occasionally heavy-going. But she plucks adroitly at the heartstrings, and the tragedy of Regan and Topsy's friendship is searingly conveyed. More conventionally fantastical is Sean Grigsby's Smoke Eater's Angry Robot, set in a contemporary United States which has been invaded by dragons. Grigsby is by day a fireman in Arkansas, and the novel reads, in part, as a peen to his colleagues. Cole Brannigan is a hard-bitten hero cliché. Clint Eastwood meets Robert De Niro in Backdraft. Days from retirement, it's discovered that helps immune to dragon smoke and, against his will, is co-opted into an elite anti-dragon force, the eponymous Smoke Eaters. The setup isn't exactly original. The Wicklow set Christian Bale snooze fest Reign of Fire similarly gave us a 21st century overrun with dragons. But Grigsby's world is vividly rendered and of engaging detail. Dragons don't have wings as in the stories. The victims linger on as ghostly spirits. As a romp, it delivers by the gallon drum.